Okay, day 342, man, we're having fun. Gosh, this is great. So this is going to be a little bit of a summary, day 342, catch everybody up. There's aspiring in Congress. There's about 6 people involved, so says Senator Grassley. We're trying to figure out who these players are. The key guy is named Imran Awan. He's got 12 houses around the D.C. area. He's got these 22 businesses. He's doing 5,400 illegal logins in Congress. Most people don't know this, believe it or not, so that's why I'm going over it. He's transferring terabytes of information. We just got another one. He's got these 3 different houses where he seems to be keeping women against their will. Every once in a while, one of them tries to escape. He beats them to keep them in their little covens there. So this is, we've got that story where there's just something underneath. You know that there's a causal factor, that you want to find. What's at the bottom of it? Is it weapons trading? Is it drugs? Is it forced prostitution, child trafficking, or teen trafficking? What is at the bottom of all this? So that's where in this series we really look at the characters involved, and we look at metadata. We look at things that are actually provable metadata from computers usually, or phones, that point to to the next key person in the story. All right, so there's 2 sets of houses. One, which is I call the entrapment houses. That's going to be Thomas Drive and Manitoba. There's Manitoba, Lachine. That's one kind of cluster of houses. Then there's this other cluster of houses in Thomas. So I guess it could be up to about 8 residences, but those are the entrapment. That's the entrapment cluster. Okay. Then there are these other houses that seem to be more the equipment houses, the high-tech equipment houses. One of those is on Sprayer. Another one of those is over on potentially down in the Lorton area on Hawks Head. So this Hawks Head, the South Fairfax area, the South Fairfax are the kind of the equipment houses, the high-tech IT equipment houses, where people could be being filmed, important people could be being filmed for blackmail. We don't know that yet. So we're looking at all these characters in both places, and the one connecting tissue between the two is this guy named RAO. I used to call him Rayo and Rao and all this, but I think RAO is better because he's running a kind of a jitney service between the 2 sets of houses, the entrapment houses, the Springfield entrapment houses, that's the ones in Manitoba and the ones in the Thomas area, and down in the South County, Fairfax area. And he has a cab, and he's got the phone number on the cab, and it at one point redirected to a terrorist in Pakistan. So we call him RAO Speedwagon. RAO Speedwagon is this guy going back and forth between these 2 sets of houses. Now, guess what? RAO Speedwagon still works in the U.S. Congress, so that any and all of those illegal logins that that the House Inspector General found over a 7-month period, and there was 5,400 of them, those could still be happening today. As a matter of fact, I do believe they're happening today, including the terabytes of information being moved. So that's why the story keeps following these characters, following the characters that are involved, and following the metadata. Now, the key metadata from the houses in South County, the houses in South County, Fairfax, are this Jaquea. Her name is Jaquea. And Imran, for some reason, is using this Miss Jaquea email. Now, I don't know if that's to lure people to the house, if he's impersonating Jaquea. He just picked a person off the internet. Jaquea doesn't even know Imran. And so that's the next person we're really trying to find. Now, Jaquea is interesting in and of herself. She's dating, I think, we don't know this yet, but it looks like she might be dating this guy who's kind of like in the underworld of DC. He's kind of this, Hamza is his name, and he's kind of into this DMV music scene that we've got here in DC. And he, had a couple of drug charges and so forth. So there could be a linkage there. So we don't know. We have no idea. Now, there was some talk last night where Jaquea was replying on Twitter, and we would love to have a long format interview with Jaquea. It's great to have Cheryl Atkinson and set up Cheryl Atkinson as a potential long-term guest host of Crowdsource the Truth, and I think Jason should consider that. But imagine Cheryl Atkinson, myself, and Jason all interviewing Jaquea. Me coming up with questions, and then Cheryl following up with, follow-up questions and so forth, and Jason moderating and so forth. I mean, I think that would be amazing, true, right from the people who are involved, television, rather than 1 or 2 second, 10-second clip. be able to do a long format interview with Jaquia, learn all about her, if she does in fact know Imran Awan, because our understanding, look at the interviews with Laurel Everly, our understanding of Imran Awan is so much greater because we're talking right to the people who knew them, material witnesses. The same thing for her mother. You know, every time Imran comes in contact with people, we have to remember that he's used to intercepting their phone calls, intercepting their mail, to keep them where they are in the position they're in, to hold them down. We know that from the 3 police reports we got last night, the addresses. The addresses turned out to be in this Manitoba cluster, in this entrapment cluster, and in the Springfield cluster. Now, if you had sort of a den mother or a madam in each one of those cluster of houses, you could have 5, 6, 10, 12 girls. And when any of them calls